Hello, I'm Minah, and today I'm gonna be talking about a manga. I honestly figured I could start talking more about the things that I consume, which are mainly, you know, K-dramas, K-pop, and webtoons, as well as manga, anime, and, you know, anime movies and stuff. I just want to talk more about those things, and I figured it could be kind of interesting. So, oh, P.S. it's not a review, it's just me talking about something that I like or don't like, just something I find talk-worthy. I'm not really serious or critical enough to be a review type, because I'm like, if I like it, I like it, even if it's bad. Anyways, today, I'm talking about Delicious in Dungeon. This is actually volume 2 because I lent the first volume to my friend because I liked it so much I wanted to share it with someone. It's a manga that started, I think, in like 2014 originally in Japanese, and then the Yen Press got license of it, I guess, and started publishing it. The English version started publishing that in 2017, I believe. So far, I think there are 3 volumes out. I have read maybe a little bit further than that online because, you know, I'm not patient. And what basically I'm going to do now is I'm going to tell you basically the setup or like the plot kind of to begin with. I'm going to maybe spoil like the first 3 chapters or so, but I'm not gonna get into like big plot points. I'm just gonna share with you exactly what it's about because I think that's really interesting, and that's also what got me into reading it. If you're like super sensitive to spoilers though, I'll just say go read it because I really like it. It's really interesting, that's mainly the point. It's not like super full of action or whatever. It's really interesting and it's kind of fun and amusing, so... But okay, story. And I'm gonna look at my phone to make sure that I read the names right because, you know. Okay, so basically the start of the story, or the setting of the story, is that you have a guild led by a human named Lias. And this guild consists of, you know, various people that you get to know throughout the manga, but they start, and the beginning of the story starts with them fighting a red dragon. Now this is, I think, relatively deep into the dungeon or something. I don't actually remember, to be completely honest. But basically, they were losing because they're hungry. Some of Lias' thoughts at the very beginning of the story is that, we could be defeating it maybe, but we're just super hungry because we ran out of food, and they're losing because they're tired and hungry and that stuff. So basically what happens is that, you know, they're getting close to like a full guild wipeout from the dragon, and at the very last moment, when everything seems like they're about to lose, and I think Lias almost gets eaten by the dragon, but instead, like, he gets pushed out of the way by his sister Falin, and then she gets taken instead, and just as she gets eaten by the dragon, she casts a spell and throws everyone out of the dungeon into safety. Because Falin is like, you know, a mage person. Now when Lias wakes up on the surface and he's like, you know, fine, most of his guildmates are leaving the guild because they are broke now, because they lost all their stuff in the dungeon and they just don't really have any money anymore to kind of pay for them going back into the dungeon, because of course they have to save Falin. It's a bit of a race with time because they're basically, in this world, it's a little bit like a game, honestly. It's never mentioned as a game, but it feels a bit like a game. If you die, you can be resurrected. If you die down there, there are people who has it as their profession to go look for dead bodies, bring them up and take a fee for resurrection or something. But basically their goal is they have to find Falin so they can resurrect her before she is digested by the dragon. Now since most of the guildmates have left, the ones that are still remaining are, it's Marcille, which is an elven mage. She's kind of like, you know, washes her hair and tries to be pretty, and is a little bit of a wimp, but she's quite powerful in magic. And she's a good friend of Falin, so she wants to come and also save her. And there's also Chilchak, which is a halfling. He's a tiny guy, he's good with locksmiths and traps and sneaks and that kind of stuff. The big problem right now is the fact that they don't have any money, so they can buy new provisions so they can go back down together, because, you know, they lost all their stuff and their money and their provisions down in the dungeon, and they can't afford buying food to go down there, and they shouldn't sell, they don't want to sell the gear because then, you know, it would be harder for them to survive down there. And a new side of Lias shows up, which is basically Lias has a secret dream or aspiration of monster cuisine, basically killing monsters, taking their body parts or whatever, and making food out of it, which is kind of like the interesting thing. It's called Delicious in Dungeon, and it's based on that. It's based on eating monsters, and I just thought that's kind of funny. Of course the fine elf Marcille is not happy, and Chilchak isn't happy either, but, you know, they kind of go along with it, or at least they decide to give it a shot because they really want to save Falin. So they go into the dungeon again, to one of the, you know, earlier levels. They kill a mushroom thing and they start cutting it up, and they're like, okay, how do we make food out of this? And, you know, Lias has a book with some information, like a dungeon guide, on what's like edible and what's poisonous and stuff, and they try to eat it and it's horrible. Doesn't taste good at all. And then out of the shadows comes the best character in this manga, Senshi. Senshi's a dwarf. He's a really cool dwarf, like with big beard and like cool hat, like, yeah, hat, helmet, a cool helmet, and an axe and everything. He's a dwarf warrior who is specializing himself in the monster cuisine. I think he lives in the dungeon for the most part. He only goes up rarely if he has to, or if he needs new supplies or spices and stuff like that from like the market. But he basically lives in a dungeon and he has a lot of dungeon knowledge and a lot of knowledge about monsters because he cooks them and he eats them and he's good at it. And, you know, of course, Senshi and Laius hit it off immediately because they're both like, oh my god, monster cuisine. I love this story, it's so... And that's basically the premise. Senshi joins the team and the four of them go into the dungeon to rescue Falin, Laius' sister, before she is digested by the dragon. Now the story's got kind of like, you know, the adventurous aspect of them actually going through the dungeon, fighting enemies, meeting other characters, and, you know, stuff like that. And then there's the part where they make food, and that's personally my favorite. I really love the cooking, so I don't want to spoil it, but this is just 2 pages and it's not really story related. So basically you can kind of see, I don't know if you can hear me. So basically you can kind of see the process of cooking it, you know, cutting things up and preparing the ingredients, aka the monsters, and then cooking, and then it ends on a screen that basically has ingredient lists and stats, and I just think it's really cool. It's really interesting and very cool and well executed. This one actually doesn't have the stat thing that says like how many fats it is, and like there's a thing that will show you like vitamins, energy, carbohydrates, like kind of what's what, and you know, that stuff. I don't know, I just think it's really cool. And that's my favorite part. The cooking is definitely my favorite part. So every chapter has like an adventurous moment, and usually it'll have, you know, the cooking segment. So in every chapter you'll meet like a new monster maybe, or maybe something, and then they make a dish out of it. And it's really cool. And I will say that it's a little slow. Like it's fun. I think it's really fun. It's like more of a funny manga rather than just being like, you know, exciting or, you know, that stuff. It's funny and it's interesting, but it is a little slow, and it kind of continues to be like, it's not like super fast paced ever. It's a little slow, but I like it. I personally don't mind because it's interesting enough to keep me going. And I will say one more thing. Where I've gotten in the story, you know, things have happened, no spoilers, but there has developed to become one more overarching story, I guess, or like, basically what I'm saying is getting more interesting, and the story is getting a little deeper, and there's probably something bigger, more interesting happening as well, which I think is really cool. All in all, I really like it, and I really recommend it if you want to read something that's a little interesting and you don't want to watch something that's like super heart-wrenching or super intense. You just want something that is amusing and interesting and fun, and mainly that. I don't know, I just really like it. I don't know how many times I can say that, so yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say. There are orcs and golems and living pictures and a lot of interesting monsters. That's kind of like a big selling point too of how interesting it is. You'll kind of see which monsters are in the book, on the back of the book, and the most interesting part is just seeing how they prepare them. So, okay, that's all I wanted to say, basically. I recommend it. Good manga, delicious in dungeon. But Yoko Kui, I think I forgot to mention that earlier. Fun! Okay, I'm gonna go now. Thank you so much for watching. If you have anything you want me to talk about or recommend something to me, then totally comments. Yes, please? The battery would also have to change it. But I'm just going to do the outro, so thank you so much for watching. If you like my videos, then please do subscribe and do tell me what you want me to talk about, and lovely interactions. I'll see you in hopefully not too long, because I'm gonna try to make videos a little bit more regularly than once a month. And yeah, I'll see you then. Bye!